You know what that felt like? It felt like the news reporter, they're like, we're back in three, two, one, and the news reporter's maybe like fiddling with something. It seemed like something was in your hand, and the moment the
Yes.
screen came on, you became self-aware,
Yes.
and you had
I
to like
was like,
lower
oh
your
man.
hand. Don't think, don't think that went unnoticed. Okay, so I just want to say that, but
Thanks for calling that out.
and with that, welcome to this session of product like it's Friday, even though it's Thursday. And today, I feel like this is fairly ambitious in the way that this session is titled. It says completing the Honeypot MVP. We'll see. We'll see if we get there. Um, what you'd messaged me earlier saying, "Hey, you think we'll complete it?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe." I did not give a committal response, but I feel like. And then when I checked the scheduled thing, I said complete. I was like, "Huh, well, gee, that's
Commitment.
brave." Yeah, no, that's brave. Let's see. Let's see if we can. And definitely that would be. It'd feel good for sure. So yeah, I'm up to try.
Cool. What do we have left?
All right, I'm happy to share my screen, and then we can get into the business of what we have left. I did end up adding a few things. Okay, so timing each question, right? So we want to have a proper time space for every question. Countdown to the next turn. Like I like this one, just so it adds more spacing or more sort of room to breathe in the app. One thing I noticed, kind of like just our fave icon, and we don't have a title or a fave icon defined, so that we'll need to change. Otherwise, it just looks unprofessional. And then one thing we spoke about was potentially making this available. I mean, there might be a few things we'd still have to do. So for one thing, this is the landing page, which is just this test page we threw out. So maybe, you know, it seems like, let's say this kind of like an extra, which is like landing page. But for starters, we can just have like enter game button here or something, just so it's super simple. Not a lot of people are going to land on it at the moment, so it doesn't have to pitch or sell anyone just yet. Okay, so there's that landing page, fave icon, the string-based game ID, right? So what I was going to suggest was, right now, because we'll just make it open, so all URLs would be open, and then somebody could just go 142 and enter a game and see the names or whatever. So making this some kind of maybe UUID based unique string for each game ID is something that I'm thinking about. And then I feel like we didn't quite finalize the sound design aspects. I'm not. I still don't know how I feel exactly about longer sound ranges, like the 5 second. I know you. I I know the world can't hear it. I can hear it though. But yeah, I'm not sure about the larger time ranges, although I'm happy to leave in what we have. But I think, and this might be a challenge here, but I think one of the things we'd quickly discussed the last time was separating the ending chime, so that we can at least start with that as a trigger, and then having a sound clip that maybe is repeatable for the like tick, 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 and that we can play and end at that given specific time. So it's not based on the length of the clip itself. It could be a 2 second clip that we can just repeat. That indicates time is running out. So there is some work here to be done, which is why I feel like the whole completing thing is still fairly challenging. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like to me, like completing just means it's testable.
I see.
Like it doesn't have to be like.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. That's fine. I think this one would be nice because I feel like it does lend to the, like, even if it was like an ending chime for times that run out. And yeah, maybe let's see what we can get. Are you okay with trying to find these sounds during the stream? Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah, I think I also want to just like find a version of the correct and incorrect sounds that are less goofy.
Okay, but how do you feel about that though? Because it seems like you picked them because you like them. And
I like them.
Yeah,
I do like them, but I think like it feels like the nice to have.
Okay, yeah. I'm okay with starting with something simpler. Only because I feel like one of the things maybe we didn't spend too much time on is kind of expanding on that essence of childish elegance from a beginning to end point of view. Like, we kind of never step back, let's just say, maybe up until this point, because we're so focused on getting the functionality done. So I think maybe that's something that can be revamped based on our feelings, right? So just depending on how we're feeling about it, and as we start trialing some of this with people who can give us feedback as well. So, okay. What should we begin with? I wouldn't mind timing each question. It's a lot of grunt work. But like, for example, if we add this countdown, it's going to take us longer to go through each question. Just in natural gameplay, we'd have to wait 3 seconds every time we want to get through. And then some of these other things can be added fairly quickly. So the meat of this will be timing each question, and then the second meat of this will be placing some additional sounds, or maybe even replacing, as Mary said, to less goofy. Did you say goofy? Is that the word you used?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Are you
like I think more I guess standard UI sounds.
Okay, fair.
Like,
yeah.
Like I'm imagining like a like the sound that you hear when you click on the check mark. Like whatever you imagine that sound to be.
Got it. Yeah. Speaking of the word goofy, have you come across either on TikTok or there's a comedian, I don't know his name, but I come across on YouTube Shorts, I come across his clips a lot. He has this auto tuner and he goes around the audience and he just, he messes with them. And it's really funny. Have you come across this?
I have not.
Really?
You have to send it to me.
I'm stunned. And he said he calls himself a goofy guy. So that's the connection I needed to make. He calls himself the goofy guy, and he sort of does crowd work, but he goes into the crowd with a mic.
So is he a stand-up comedian or like?
He's a comedian, and he has musical elements to his show. I've actually not seen much of a stand-up work. I think the show is interspersed with his kind of set and crowd work. That's what it seems like, but and with a musical element, but I've never seen it sort of straight up stand-up stuff. I've only I think if you Google for goofy guy or YouTube for goofy guy comedian, he'll pop up. He has a very brandable mustache. Can't be missed.
Okay, I see a guy that fits the description.
All right. Okay, so we said timing. Now, if I believe there are 22 questions, unique questions, which means if I jump in here and generate players and change this to, I'm going to say 24 just in case. We'll get 2 repeat questions. That's if the code is working. So before I become too confident, I did make some changes to the code to make sure that we're not repeating questions if we don't have to, but there might be bugs in that code. So let's see. If we get a question 3 times, it's broken, because I know we don't have more than 24. I think we have 22. All right, so we'll get back here and generate players. That looks more than 10. And just to remind people, we'll just do, oh, this should not be a scroll, but I don't hate it. I don't feel the immediate, it should kind of bleed over into a separate column. I'm going to take a note here, but below this, because I don't think it's that important. Confirm player list multi-column. Okay. Okay, yeah. This was the first bit of animation, actually, that we've done in the app, for the record.
It's so nice.
I do enjoy it. All right, so first up, you have 90 seconds to answer. That's a lie. So we'll have to fix that with when the timing comes up. It's interesting because at this point, we have not generated the questions yet. Oh no, yeah, I think we generate them when we click start round. But we'll see. Okay, the exercise we're going through is really feeling out how long we should give for this question to be answered.
This is way too short.
27. Is it? I think. I'll reveal the answer. It is 27. But 10 seconds definitely does feel too short. Why don't we say for questions like this, by default, we can say something like 30 seconds? 20?
Yeah.
You have to pick one.
We can start with 30.
Wow, that's bold. Okay, let's do that. One thing I'm noticing here is I don't think that when I do, so let me take a look at my types. We haven't been in the database in a long time now, but going to the turntable, there is a question string and an answer string. So we never kind of did this whole, okay, that's fine. That's fine. What I wanted to do was, or what I was hoping for was, in order to make it easier to find the question, each question has like a unique, each question type has a unique name. And so I kind of wanted to store that. So I want to do something like question type. And that could just be string for now. So there's some, because if I don't do this first, the rest of this will be me kind of copy pasting and trying to find the question by the text in the question versus the question type. So it'll be a bit faster. The other thing, because I'm making database changes at this point, I think in the game, I wouldn't mind. So we have an ID, which is kind of this based on a number, and we want to use this ID most of the times. But I wanted to additionally have like a display ID here. And so I guess I'm doing one of those things that I said I'd do later, but because I'm modifying the database, I can hopefully get it done fairly quickly here. So let's go into the migrations, into the game migration, and let's add another column here. And here nicely, it knows what to do, and it doesn't like string. Is it text? And yep, so I want display ID in the game, and then when a game is being created, we'll have to generate this. Okay, so that's one thing. And then the other thing was in the turn, I had added a question type. So let's go to the migration for the turns, and let's add that question type. Does it know what to do? Not quite. Question. Okay, I need to do question underscore type here because, varchar is what our display ID should be, not text. Okay, so just making sure here, question type, and then here, this should also be question type, and display ID. Did I Yeah, I gave it the underscore. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just trying to rethink very quickly what I need to do. Okay. Stop the server. Oops. And I'm just going to copy my development database to like a .back for now, just in case something goes wrong here and we spend hours trying to fix it. And then oh, okay, that's fine. This this computer doesn't have the, I was hoping it'd have the command that I need because I've already forgotten it. And that's fine. I'll just come back here and Google it. So Keasley migrations. And I think the command I'm looking for has latest in it. So this does not have, okay. Maybe these docs will. Nope. Keasley CLI.
What's Keasley?
Keasley is the library that we're using to interface with our database. And it just makes, so this syntax over here is provided to us by Keasley. And then we could have done pure SQL, which is what a lot of relational databases run on. And then Keasley is just like an abstraction layer on top of SQL. So I don't have to write raw SQL, I can write code. Although arguably SQL is code, but still, so I can write JavaScript code that then gets translated into SQL.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Keasley migrate, and I believe latest is, so yeah, I mean, this is weird. I think I made a comment on this when I was implementing this earlier. It's like it mirrors connects or nexus thing, and now I gotta go here to like find what the, yeah, so it is Keasley migrate latest. So pnpm Keasley migrate latest. This is not what I was expecting. Oh, I did a CP and not a remove. So I do need to remove my database. And then now I expect to see the migrations being done. And now I can start my database again. So I need to do two more things. I've added the fields. I've recreated the database. And now I need to, upon game creation, I need to generate a display ID. We'll do this bit by bit. Like there's some front-end work that we need to do as well. I won't do that now for this. So the second half of this we'll do later. Okay. So I want to search for create game or create game with players. And let's just double check. Create game. Yeah, create game with players is what's being used here. And it returns a game. So this is where the game is being created. And here already I feel like, oops. This is showing us an error because it's expecting, it doesn't tell us, it doesn't give us enough detail on what it's expecting, but my assumption is that it's expecting a display ID. I won't do this random business here for now. I'll just do this to see if that error goes away, and it does. So, and here I'll write a comment that says generate UUID. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like JavaScript has that ability with crypto. And so we're going to do import crypto from our crypto, this double check, and it is a function. So it should give us that ID. I'll change this to display underscore ID here. And then here, we'll come in and do that. So now when we create a game, we should have a display ID. Okay, great. And just want to make sure that find game by ID by default returns all the values. So yeah, okay. It's been a while since I have been in this code, so I just, yeah, just scanning the code to see if it will work as I expect. And then the next thing I need to do is get that question type into the turn. So this is when we create turns. I feel like this here is failing because it needs a question type. Although I don't think create turn is being called anymore, and I left it here. Yeah, it's not. It's not. So I'm actually happy to just delete it and deal with the consequences later. And then this fails because we don't satisfy that condition anymore because question type is missing. Perfect. And when we get the question, question.question type has that question type. So here we go. And that should be it. So that stuff will go away. And then I'm happy to get rid of that as well. Okay, so this here, this much essentially gets us to the point where we're starting to generate those fields and populating them in the database. So let's go back and make sure that this still works. Okay, so the game has been created. And when I start the round, so questions are coming up, but somewhere here, I just want to display the question type. So we'll go to the question page and then go to the point where is answering is there. And here, I think I'll just turn dot question type. I feel like this should do it, but let's see. Great. So now I can copy and bring it into the app. So I will commit what we have thus far. And I might not commit this page specifically because this is just kind of for now. But that I won't commit either. This I will commit. That's my display ID. This I will commit. That's my question type. This is me adding the types to the types. And then, yeah, creating a UUID for the game. Although I haven't verified this, but we'll get to that when we actually try and get that into the URL. And then here, I've removed something, which is the create turn, because we're only using create turns, and then question type. Okay, great. Adding question type and display ID fields. Okay, so how long should this take? I think, you know what? Here's what we'll do. Time allotted by default is this time. So okay, here's what I'll need to do. Okay, so question template is okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts here. So what I actually need to do is also like change the hookup of where that time information is coming from. And we'll say that it's optional. So this question type is, variables, answer function, question template. But I'll say allotted time or time allotted. And I know I mixed the, so yeah, question, exactly. So it's optional here. So if it exists, we'll use it. If it doesn't exist, then we'll have a default value. So let's go back here. And not here, sorry. Let's go back here. Actually, I don't even know where I'm going anymore. Strictly, it's here. Let me just find where I'm going. It's here. So we're going to get a question. This question actually now will have, it doesn't. Okay, so I was expecting it to have time allotted. I just forgot to return that value, which means here at the end, I want to return I would have expected AI to have picked up. Hold on. What am I doing? Question. Okay. So that's, yeah. Okay. Time allotted. I just want to. Okay. So we're going to get that value here. And then at the end of this, we're going to return it. And so time allotted is going to come back here now into this question value. And then we'll use it here. And we'll say something like question.time allotted or 30 seconds. And it doesn't like this. Does not exist on type. What? I spelled it incorrectly. I didn't spell it incorrectly. Sorry. Somebody spelled it incorrectly. Did I spell it incorrectly here? I did, I guess. How many T's does allotted have? Does anybody know?
I think it's 2 T's.
Oh my God. Okay. What a disaster.
We'll never know who spelled it wrong.
We will know because it's recorded.
It's recorded.
Live. Yeah. So it was probably me. I will accept. It's my responsibility, even though it may not be my fault. Okay, so here we go. Now what we've done is we've by default made it 30 seconds. What this will hopefully allow us to do, I'm gonna have to create a new game because all that gets set at the initial point. Okay. So now it's 30 seconds. Now we can get a sense of like, oh, we should like use less time or more time.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one, I feel like this question in particular doesn't need 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I also wonder, like, can the student, and maybe we don't need to figure this out, but can the student start, like, is the moment they start answering, like, when they're ready to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't know what you mean. Actually.
Okay, let me re-articulate.
For the official record, I want to state that the question was barely started and also never completed. So definitely, I had no idea what it could possibly mean. Okay, please go ahead.
So, like a question like this, the student would have to start by saying, like, what's the smallest number, right? Like -4. Is that the moment that we care about, that they answered in time? Like if the timer went to 0 and they only started answering? But I guess
I see what you mean. So like the moment they start answering. My assumption is that it'll kind of be mildly honor based where, you know, like they'll have a notepad or pen or paper, I assume, and they'll do their thing, right? They'll do their work and say, I got it. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's the point where we should pause here. Mm-hmm. Because we can't reveal the answer.
Yeah.
Because then they'll know the answer. But if we okay, so we do have some gameplay mechanics to change, which is adding a. So oh, wow, are we gonna complete today, Mary? You think? Okay, you know what? I'm just okay. I think you had discussed this earlier too about adding a pause. Add pause. I'm more impatient than you are, just so you know. I think
it's not a competition.
It is a What are you talking about? Yes. Okay. Even if it's not a competition, I think facts matter, and so it is a comparison, if not a competition, because I compared, and also because I won. Add pause to turn. And I guess really all the pause is doing is, I mean, if there's a pause, should there be a play? And I don't know when that ever would be the case where we need to leverage a play situation in this game. Right? You're here, you say, I got it. So we pause to record the time.
Mhm.
Would we ever play again, continue, or like?
I like the idea of having a play for flexibility.
Okay.
But I'm also like, if someone's like, I got it, oh no, never mind. That's kind of cheating.
Okay. So to that point now, what do we prioritize working on this right now first? You think we should just, since we're here, add a pause and play button here?
Yeah.
We can do it fairly quick. Okay. Let's go back here and let's go to reveal answer, which is where that button is, and let's work from here. Let me just quickly see what other code changes I've made. I'm happy to delete this now. Okay, so the other changes aren't. I'm passing in time allotted. I'm like, should I commit this prior to? Yeah, I think I will commit this and say passing through time allotted with 2 T's. Okay, so back to reveal answer, and here's where I want my additional button to be. And I can, I'm just gonna quickly take a look at other buttons on this page. Is there an outline button? Yeah. So all I want to do is really just copy an outline button and work from there. And I might need to have some adjustments here for spacing, but well, I'll do that in a second. So here we'll have kind of a, pause or play button. And we'll just do pause first, and then I can use the if conditions to actually decide what they should be. Let me see if there's a pause here. I don't want color error. I want color neutral for now, because I don't know what the feeling of this thing would be. And here we're gonna say pause, and will that start? Yeah. Okay. So already we have sort of this pause button here. I don't know which side the icon should go on, but for now, this is it. I feel like Mary's like furiously designing in the back end, in the background.
Maybe.
That's my guess. But now
Not
it's
furiously.
Yeah, we can hear your keyboard, Mary. It's furious. It's not, everybody knows. Okay. So now I need to go ahead and create a pause function here, which let's see if this does what I would want. I don't know. I just accepted it. It clears the timer interval, which is our countdown value. So that's correct. And then answer state value equals pending. I don't want to change the answer state value because it's already pending. And then set remaining time sends information to the backend. I don't want to do that. See, this is why you can't just AI your way through life. And now if I press pause, I expect that to stop. Okay, cool. And once that's happened, so we are paused, it means that I think timer interval is no just timeout, because I want to have some indication of whether it's paused or not. So I need a state, but like it doesn't feel right to me to add another state value for some reason. So I want to see
why does this pause state matter?
Because if it's paused, I need to show play.
I see.
And so I need that state for that. And so I'm trying to see whether there's any indication here in this timeout that uses a timer to indicate state, whether there's some state built into it. And so I'm just looking at its definition. I'm not seeing anything immediately, but it says ref counted. I don't know what ref, has ref. I don't know what any of these things are. So let's quickly do some interneting. Node.js timer has ref. I probably did not need to go into that much detail. But also this is not Node.js, it's really just JavaScript because this is happening on the front end. Yeah, so that's not, I don't think that's, so it's not really has ref state because I want the timer state, right? So yeah, I don't see that indication. So it might be there, but I don't want to spend too much time reading at the moment. So I will do this. I will say, I'll add it, right? So here, when we did set interval here, this returns a timer interval. So instead of this being a const, I'm gonna let it, and then here I'll just say, no, I'll say timeout or null, right? And then for now, I'm going to say timer interval equals this, and just see how what this feels like. This should be node.js.timeout. I was like, in the browser, but obviously these are types, so these never get to the browser. So we're okay. And then here I can say else if timer interval, right? So if there is a timer interval, then clear it. And I can do that if here as well. Okay, so I've made it null, and if it's null, to me that will indicate that it's paused. So let me go ahead and do that here as well, and we'll end up also setting it to null. Okay, so now that's the indication. If it is null, that's the indication that that I should display a button, the other button. So let's go to a pause, and let's go ahead and create the next button. So actually, I'll do that up here, and I'll say v if timer interval. So if the timer, and I'll do like a precision thing here. If it's null, then I want play, and then I want to run play here, and then yep, this will become play, and then here I want a v else, where there is a value and we are counting down. Okay, so now I can come back here and add a play function, and really what the play function is doing is setting the timer interval. So it's doing this, and I should just be able to copy the whole thing into a play function. I'll spell it properly in a second. Okay, let me just double check here. And then I want to call that play function immediately because that's what was happening. And now when I go back, when I refresh the page, I expect to see 30 seconds counting down and the ability to play and pause. And if not, then there's a bug. So refresh, it started. So that means I've maintained the previous functionality. Pausing it, pauses it. Now I don't see this changing. So there's a bug and we'll fix it. So let's go ahead and do that. My issue here was this needs to be a ref. And I don't know off the top of my head whether it will like it or not. So let's see. So let's make it a ref, which makes it a reactive value that the UI can modify itself based on. And I never really should have accepted AI's answers because it's messing me up in multiple places. first bit is, okay, yeah. So now we can use const because we'll never actually be changing this value directly. Did it? It seems like it automatically changed itself. So that might not have been AI. That might have been just me ranting against it. And this might have just been JavaScript or TypeScript LSP. Okay, so let me just see if there's any other errors here. There is here, but I won't worry about that for now. Now when I come here and refresh, countdown is working. Now we have playback again, and we start off from where we were. Okay, so now we have a play and pause situation happening. Another thing we could do is only have a pause and show reveal answer only when paused, for example, because, but we don't have to. I think that's maybe thinking too much ahead at this point. But for now, I'm happy to commit what we have here. I'm committing even this question type. I'm aware of that, but that's fine for now. And now we have a play pause functionality. Adding play pause to turn. Okay. Play pause is here. And so now we say, I got it. And we got to say, you got to say it now, because now you're committed. And we'll leave this for contentious situations. And we got to review answer. Okay, so now we can go back to the initial job, which is how long should we allot to this question? I feel like 30 seconds is too much.
Agreed.
I feel like 20 seconds is probably fine. And for some of the questions, we'll need to give some time to read the question as well. This is like 2-3 seconds to read and maybe 15 seconds to answer, which is why I'm kind of like settling on that 20 number. And then now I can go ahead and search in the code directly. And here I'll say time allotted, and we'll give this 20 seconds. Unfortunately, this won't be reflected immediately for this question because these values are saved ahead of time. They're not being retrieved on the go. So reveal, let's just say we got it correct. And then next. Oh my, okay. Now I got to do math on this like not so fluid, easy question. I'm happy to leave the 30. Yeah.
Sure. I'm not doing this question.
We're not doing them? Okay, yeah. Are you okay? Alternatively, one of the things that if you had wanted to try, which I'll do off screen for a second. No, I'll do it on screen. I'm not a coward. How long would this question take a grade 6 student to do?
I thought they're in grade 9.
Yeah, but I think we should still plan for a grade 6 situation.
I see.
Who is this? Okay. I'm like, why are you taking so long to think? So this is Google. It's Gemini 2.5 Pro that actually does take some time. So it says 30 seconds to a minute. And it's sort of doing the breakdown as well. Oh. Bro. You know what? We can just do our best guess for now. And then I feel like we'll have to actually do this with someone who's more knowledgeable in the field of mathematics. So it says with calculator, but I don't believe any of these are being assisted through a calculator. So I'm actually happy to give this even more time, actually. Free throws is the question, because it can get fairly complex. So I'm good to give this like 45 seconds even. And if someone doesn't like it, I mean, here AI says even more time, right? So
yeah.
Okay, next question. Oh my God. Thoughts?
I think 45 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
For sure.
mostly just like the reading itself.
Yeah,
comprehending
exactly.
the question.
I feel like, yeah, well, I think this is still a good exercise for us to do because I definitely don't, what I don't want is to be way off initially. And then that kind of being the majority of the initial feedback, right? Where like people are like, oh, it's 10 seconds. And like people fixate on that. With 45 seconds, at least we still might have that fixation, but we're lowering our odds for that fixation. I'm okay to leave this as 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I actually still like I'll hard code it to the 30 seconds actually. Okay. Oh my God. I'm 45 seconds in this. Did they really get the students to answer this in 15 seconds? It's just we're not in practice too, so I'd rather they say that reduce the time than say
Yeah.
increase the time. So that's fine. I'm happy to give this practice time question more time. So this will be that 45-second mark. Although AI thinks they should be able to answer it in 30 seconds. Like I feel like because this question is here, it should know, right? But I'm going to say the 45 and then we'll see. But I think AI has. What is the units price? I'm good to leave this as 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's plenty of time. Maybe even more time than necessary, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm good to leave this as 30 seconds also. I'll try and go through this pretty quickly, Mary, but if you disagree, so I'll just kind of be like going through. If you disagree, let me know.
Sounds good. I feel like the ones with lots of reading definitely just
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, and
I mean, this is not bad, but the reading takes a lot of time.
yeah. So what are you gonna say?
I don't know, 45.
45, yeah. Yeah, it says 30, by the way. And I don't know whether it's trying to just repeat what we've done the last couple of questions or whether it's because it cares. So we just have to multiply. I'm happy to leave this as 30. I feel like this is plenty of time for 30 seconds. I do feel like here's another thing we could do. Just a thought I want to throw out is we could probably have the timer ticking from the start of the question to maintain some kind of sound energy as this is playing, if people are opting to go with sound. And then it could become louder in that last chunk of time. That's just a thought. I feel like the kids should be able to answer this in 30, but I'm not sure. 4? Yeah. Like, like you would have come kind of studied up for this kind of stuff. I mean, come on. 20 seconds. I don't hear disagreement, so I'm going to make this 20. And because, okay, this is cool. Because we will have we will have the time. We can add, you have X seconds here. So that even before this begins, the person knows how many seconds they have to answer the question, how much time they'll have to ask the question.
So I was thinking we could do that on the turn countdown, which was another item on the
Okay. Yeah, we
on
can
the
try that.
list. So whenever we want to get to it, I shared a link.
Okay. I mean, I find it hard not to click on this link. So I'm going to do it because I have no self-control. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's.
And then
That's
just
great.
getting rid of that time on the round overview, because that doesn't really make sense.
Time on the round. Sorry, what was that?
So on the round overview, there used to be like, you have however many
Ah,
seconds.
got it. Yeah, that's perfect because at this point we actually don't even have the time.
Yeah.
This is when it gets created. It does. Okay, this might be a little. We'll see. Okay, cool. Anything else that you want? Now that we're here, anything else that you wanted to?
No, I don't think so.
I
think
knew it.
else...
I knew this guy was going to be there. The furiousity of furiousness was infuriating. Okay. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to our day job, which is assigning time to questions. Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this question. No, I'm okay with this question. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Fibonacci. 15. And it just took me, because I knew it was Fibonacci and that helped. So I'm going to leave this at the 30 seconds. Okay. What is a 15% tip? I feel like this should be able to be done in 30 seconds, maybe even less. I'm going to, I'm going to say 25, just for kicks. And then later, I mean, yeah, with the idea that all of this will probably change later, or some of this anyway. Yeah, I'm happy to leave this at the 30. Could be less, but 30 is fine. Yeah, immediately I'm giving this 45 because I'm not that good, and it does take a few seconds to read the question. This is a different pattern. Okay, yeah. So this is the two numbers you have to care about, +5 and then 2. And you have to figure out what this is. So this is +5 +7, because +5 +2. And is this, I don't even know. I give up.
+9 +11.
Is it? Okay.
+13.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So +2 every time.
50?
All right, we did it. Let's try it. Well, you did it, but I was there. I watched it. I'm happy to say 45 for this one, but maybe 30 is challenging, Thoughts?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
30.
a kid who is practiced would have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Versus like an old man who can only code using AI. What is here? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave this as 30 as well. Ooh.
Do we need to talk about like brackets for negative numbers?
I don't think so. Why do you feel we do?
I mean, I think it's a personal it's a personal preference.
I think that's the part of the point of this question is to kind of have you place the brackets there and answer because the brackets are implicit.
I was referring to like having like the negative integer like around.
Oh, here you mean?
Yeah, or negative.
Oh,
yeah.
just so there's in this. I'll leave it like this and see if maybe we get some complaints from folks. I
mean, I don't know
happy to.
What's the best practice these days either.
Yeah. I'm happy to make this 20 seconds for now. Ooh, another. This is an easier one.
10 seconds.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Actually, like, what's the variance between like the number of steps?
It's just 2 here.
I mean, like in the code, like, does that vary at all?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, the step is aiming from 2 to 7. So it's not like once you figure out it's 7, then it's adding 7. So I'm actually, this can be one of our like quicker questions. Okay, so you got to do some juggling here. I'm okay to leave this at 30, I think. I was thinking maybe even more. Like, I'll do 35. I also like having some variance in question time as well. So people know that like, okay, like, oh my God, it's 10 seconds. Let me really like, let me lock in. Answer it, Mary.
I can't.
You
answer it.
This negative 32. Or 32, sorry, not negative 3, 32. But this reminds me of the meme where you were like, when you said I can't, it's like, where like, oh, I was going somewhere with my child or my whatever, a coworker, and they said, oh, how long would it take us to do this? Like I saw something and they were like, we can't, we don't know how anymore. Do you know that meme? You know what I'm talking about? I'm not describing it well.
Okay, you got it.
When you said I don't know, I was like, it reminded me of that. 32. Look at that.
First try.
I feel like this, despite Mary's
I was overthinking.
Yeah.
I was like
I'm gonna say 25.
Yeah.
I might even say 20 for this because the range is like super.
Oh, okay.
No, the range here is super simple. Although we could make this harder, like I think that's another thing to discuss where like later, if this catches fire, right? Then having like in the settings, a mode where even these kinds of things are adjustable even, like, or at least viewable. So, off the bat, but also potentially adjustable. And then we store these in the database and so forth, so on. So, although some of this will be difficult to do in the database like this. Actually, no, I mean, in this case, it'll be fairly easy to do, but we'll see. And then it kind of challenges us to simplify this. So we're relying purely on data and not on code for all parts of the question template. So interesting things potentially down the road. But for now, this one is simpler. And this here might also be a formula based on the variation or whatever. Like I'm just complicating it. Probably not going to do any of it, but just, spitting ideas here. Now there are brackets here, and I mean, okay, fine. I feel like this does not need 30 seconds to answer.
Yeah.
So I'll give it the 25. I feel like we've done this already, and we have, because I have time on it, but we will allow this. There's 2 repeats, remember? So Did we do all the questions? I didn't feel like we did all the questions.
How many are there again?
I think they're 22. So let's just take a quick look in the code itself to see. So yes, that's done. Yes. 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 Yeah, we did that. I remember doing this, yeah. Adding fractions, yeah, we did. Beyonce, I guess we did. Huh. Time flies, even when you're not having fun.
Damn.
I've been wanting to use that.
Even when you're doing math.
yeah. But I definitely that's a line I want to use more often because people are, because they're expecting the opposite, and you're like, especially because I'm spending time with them during their time. Oh, that's so joyful for me. So yeah, we did do all the questions. Fantastic. So that wasn't too bad. A quick rundown here. Nothing changed except for time allotted. And now what we'll do is we'll do another round where now the questions will be created in the database and should have variation of times being displayed. And then we'll go ahead and implement the visualization of that time prior to the question starting. Okay. I did not mean to quit the entire. All right. So this is pound of apples is the repetition, because I was like, okay, what's going on? Because it'll only repeat once you've exhausted the whole thing. So the first repetition include me. Okay, now when we start this next round. So for starters, I'll just go ahead and remove this because this won't be here anymore. Let's take a look at that Figma. So it does have that ready, so we'll keep it because Mary did not remove it. And now 25 seconds here. Good. I'm just going to keep going. 30 seconds here, 20 seconds here, 20 seconds here, 30 seconds here. Okay, so I'm happy. 45 seconds. Perfect. Okay, so now we know that that is functioning. And then we want to come to this. So you mark it correct. And then we have next up this person. And when next turn is clicked, we want to use this space here before we move to the next turn to have some sort of countdown. So that will be here. Right. Question in 3, 2, 1. So we'll have that. And then you'll have X seconds to answer. Okay, so we're going to go to the next turn button. Next turn.
Would we also want it for the first?
We would, yeah. But we're in the game right now for the usage, so we'll implement this, and then we'll go back and we'll ensure that it's also available for the first question. And the work we do will make that simpler. Okay, so let me just ensure, because I believe there's 2 next turn situations here.
Can we make the T on the turn capitalized?
No, that's one
too unreasonable
request too far. That's you know what? Out of principle, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
How does that feel?
That's fine. I can live with inconsistencies.
Fine.
I will also say that I was the one that wrote T without the capitalization myself on the Figma, so it's my fault.
Got it. Good. Thank you for taking responsibility of this additional work late in the project. We have deadlines. We have to complete today. And you're here asking me to capitalize words and letters. I don't know about this. Okay, so next turn should trigger a countdown prior to actually sending you here. So I'm looking for a name because it turns out, unfortunately, or for whatever you want to call it, it is a state. It is an answer state here. And what would we call the state? Get ready. State. And so even though it says next turn, what we actually want is to get ready. And so we'll say function get ready. Yeah, I mean, here, I guess I want to still do this. Just follow the same pattern. And even though the button says next turn, which is, I guess, correct from a user interface point of view, I'm just thinking, next turn, because I'll try something weird, because we do want to get ready state, but I'm hesitating here because we have next turn here, and it's a bit odd for the next turn button to not run the next turn function, but then it's also a little bit odd for the next turn function not to go to the next turn. So I think the language should still remain here, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll first code it like this, maintaining this connection. It's not that important, but it's a thought that crossed my mind. And then I'll, so here, instead of going to the actual next turn, we will say answer state dot value is get ready. And then we'll have a async function, maybe go to next turn. This might be called trigger next turn, so that it's a little bit more descriptive. So we are triggering the next turn, which is correct, which is true in a sense. And the and I'll replace that here. Okay, so now I'm satisfied broadly with the naming. I'm gonna get rid of this, replace that, get rid of this here. And so now we get trigger next turn as our initial thing. We'll come back to this in a second, but I want to go back to the UI and see what this begins to look like. Click. This goes away, good, because all of that is dependent on the next up. Why is this displaying? I guess because I had this outside of whatever was. I did not. I was expecting a blank view here. That's fine. Let's see. There's only one next up here, and it displays if there's a next player in because it's in an else. It's in an else clause. So instead of that happening, I'm going to copy this block entirely. And instead of having that at the end, because there's two conditions that else condition, the v else, will catch, we'll do answer state here, get ready, and then this will display. And let's take a look at what we want to display, and let's get those elements in first. So question in, number, and then you'll have X seconds to answer. So let's get those elements in place first. I'll do it here right now, and I'm kind of reusing ... kind of reusing things that we already have here. And we will readjust the sizing and everything in a second. So the next bit might say just 3, hard coding stuff in for now, and we'll make it functional. Yeah, that's fine. I was just thinking, oh, what happens if the next turn button, you click next turn and there's no next turn, but that never happens. So just wanted to go through that logic. Okay, so next player. Next up, so you'll have 30 seconds to answer. Yeah, I'll just paste that here. And let's see what this feels like, and we'll adjust based on. So this needs to be larger. This needs to be bold and not, just this bit needs to be bold. Okay, so we'll get rid of the semi-bold here. We'll do strong, not string, but strong class equals font semi-bold. Okay, I don't know how to type strong. This looks very small, so we want this to be super big. So I'm gonna let me do 20. Why not? Let's commit. I don't think there is even a 20. So fine, 10. No, I don't. It seems like there is not even a 10. Oh, or maybe it's not working. Let's see. Yeah, there is no 10. So let's do 8, but I can hard code it for now. That's fine, actually. Yeah, I'm not upset about this. We'll change the spacing in a second. And question in yeah, so question in this is medium. This remains, I feel like, the semi, yep. And then this is medium with the exception of maybe this bit. So I'll go ahead and font medium this, and this should be semi-bold. And we'll look at the spacing in a second, but here we go. I don't see the difference here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And now that is a little bit more apparent. For my own purposes, I'm going to try and add an HTML entity, which is just a space around this, so there's a little bit more space to scan this. That looks better. I feel like this should still be centered somewhat. So let me take a look at this and say, because we're displaying the whatchamacallits here, the animation, we wanted slightly different spacing, but this should be equal spacing. What is this? Oh, because this is a different entity and we're flex. That's fine. And so here, I'm going to go ahead and just say PY30 and get rid of this. So we should have some equal spacing, could be a bit less. Going to the design. All of this is centered in the design. So let me see if I can't accommodate for that. I'm trying to understand why that's happening as well. I think I had gotten rid of that before somewhere here. And now that looks, it's not perfect. Probably because of this PT8. It's still not perfect, but I'm not gonna. Okay, so this is the visualization, and let's get our the reactivity in there. Okay. I guess I'll start here, which is this number should come from the next question. And currently, I don't think we have the idea of a next turn, right? I mean, we have next turn, like do the next turn, go to next turn. We have turn in our state file. So we should have a const turn, right? Which is this. And so I want to say something like export const next turn. Let's see if it's able to find it. Yeah, seems like it. It's saying, hey, yeah, current turn ID will be the number. So that's correct. And we add 1. And this might be null. Okay, so that's something we have to keep in mind. And here I just want to make sure that because we had a function called next turn, now only this is next turn. All of this is like trigger next turn. And so now we're not going to collide with this state variable now. Okay, so we have the idea of a next turn. And how many seconds? This error is happening here somewhere. So let's just, I did accept from our friend. So let's undo this and review. Yeah. Yep. So that's missing. And then there we go. So, okay. So now I should have a next turn. And where it says 30 seconds, I was going to search for 30 seconds, but I should search for strong. And that's here. I want this to be next turn dot time allotted, which will be more than 30 seconds in display, or whatever the case may be. It'll be like 1,000. And we'll simply just divide this by. I'm happy to do that, all that here, actually. This will be a little ugh, but fine. I just want to make it work. Okay. Now there shouldn't be a case where this happens, but just for we'll do that so we don't have to do this business. And we'll delete the surrounding thing. Now that error doesn't happen anymore because we're verifying in this if that this is the case. There is an next player, there is a next turn, although both of these things are related. And then there is time allotted. So, all right, that looks good to me. And now we want a countdown. So now we have another interval here that needs to get set. We'll call it, I think there's a timer countdown. So I'll just up here, right above it, I guess, I'll have a next turn countdown. And we'll give it very similar treatment. Here I can have 3 off the bat. And then when we trigger it, remember we did a play function somewhere down here? It's effectively this function, right? Except it's going to be slightly different. So instead of being play, it's going to be start next turn countdown. So very descriptive functions here. And set interval, timer interval. So I need another interval, right? I have my interval defined here. I'll bring this. This code is not very well organized, but I'll bring these together for now, and we'll deal with the organization later. So next turn interval, we'll call it. And then we'll just get rid of this and see if AI is able to suggest what we need. I wonder why it's doing that. So what if I did this? So let me review the interval. Why not? That's fine. Because I don't think this needs to be reactive because it's not being used in the template anywhere, but I'm not that invested in changing it either. Yep, correct. We want to go down by 1 second at a time. And yeah, if it's greater than 0, we want to do this. Otherwise, this is precisely what we want. So this is a good job on AI. We want to go to the next turn because we already had that function. If we didn't have that function, I wonder what it would have suggested. We want to clear this and we want to go to the next turn. And then I believe here we can additionally set next turn countdown to 3. I'm going to quickly check my messages if you will allow me. Okay. All right, so now we want to start the next turn countdown when you click trigger next turn, right? So that trigger point is when it should start. I think I have all the elements I need, but let's see. We haven't changed this, but it's working. It's working because it did the countdown, but we never changed the template to display the changes. So let's find question in. So this is hard coded, and next turn countdown value is what we should be displaying here. So let's try that out here. I don't like that 0. So I'm actually okay to make this 2, make that 2, and then for display purposes, just do +1. Because I feel like 0 should be. I see a flash of 3 there. Right. And that's because answer state is still get ready at the time that happens. So let's see if I can't fix that. I don't like that flashing 3 at the end there. So, okay. Let's find that interval. Let's see here. So we're clearing the interval. I feel like I can set the value to null. And then I feel like that's going to get set when you click through. I'm actually okay doing something like and now, I mean, now I'm using this in the template where before I wasn't. So I did the whole spiel about not doing it in the template, but let me just leave it this way. And it turns out I will be using it in the template. Let's see what this looks like. I'm not 100% sure. I'm expecting a blank screen when it turns to 3 right before the switch happens. No, there's still a flash. What is that flash? That was really quick. I wasn't able to see. Let me just. Okay, well, it might be spacing. What if I did this? And this is the last kind of attempt I'll spend on this. Next tick, next turn interval. And let's see. That's better. So what was happening, I think, is it was kind of the div was readjusting. This is not perfect, but it's much better. And it's not annoying me as much. Let me just take a look again. Yeah, that's much better. So it's just a shifting of elements as that change was happening. Okay, so now let's look at that one more time. We have it. This is it, right? The other thing I haven't been looking at is whether that number of seconds is true. So that is true. Note that there's no buttons here. Cool. I'm content with that. A little bit of oddities here. So for example, the name is here, but nothing like, yeah, why not? Let's see. So we can say template if current player and answer state not equals get ready, right? And then I forgot to get rid of this from the last commit. And now let's see what this feels like. That's better. Yeah, that looks great. Any comments, Mary? Are we content with this?
Very content.
Awesome. Okay. Let's commit. So we added a next turn state. Okay, well, this, I'll leave it for now. I don't need to commit that. And then here, okay, we just got rid of that. We need to do the first player still, so I'll do that after this commit. And then a bunch of changes here. I mean, we just went through the whole kit and caboodle here. So I'm just gonna be like, okay, cool, whatever. It looks good to me. Code review. And then we'll commit. Adding countdown to next turn within turns. So let's see what it feels like for that first turn. So I'll create a new game here. And I don't even know what the setup is like here because it's a little weird because we're not on the turn page. So we might need some of that same functionality to appear on this page. So we might want to extract some of those components and create a kind of countdown to next turn component and use it in both places. So this will be interesting. Okay, let's just see what happens. So it's regular, and this works as usual. So let's pull that out and use it in both places because I don't want to I could just copy paste code here and move along, which I've done in the past, but I feel like now as we're getting settled and I don't, it's too much functionality to copy paste. Okay, so let me just think through. Okay, so let's go to the question page. And then let me go back to, oops, not there, here. First up. So where is that first up? It's here. And then that's, what? Okay, yeah. Okay, so round ID index is the first step, and the question is where the question is. Okay, so let's see if I can't extract some bits, right? So let me see. So question in, so this is the visualization. And so what I'll do is, for now, I won't think about it too much. I'll start and then I'll fix as the errors appear. So I'm expecting issues to arise. Let's get a component going, and we'll call this a next turn countdown component. Okay, and let's open it here. And we'll have a script. And I always forget the syntax for this stuff. And we'll have a template to begin. And then let's grab this whole thing for now. I don't know whether that will be continually the case. I'm going to get rid of this if, because it belongs here. So what we'll do here is we'll call next turn countdown if next turn interval. And yeah, we do need to pass it these things perhaps. So let me just accept whatever it's giving me for now. And let's just review. Next turn countdown. I feel like next turn countdown should be managed here. Yeah, it should be managed within this component. So the moment it shows, I can't. That's what should happen, but I'll run into some complications here because, no, it's fine. It's fine. Because of this v-if I was thinking, but it's fine. Let's actually not even worry about that. Okay, so I will need a next turn countdown, which I'll want to define here. And I'll just accept whatever we get and we'll replace it. Next player should come from the properties. So let's see if it knows. No, it doesn't know. So let's say, let's give it some. Okay, so now it knows. We have a next turn object, let's just say, and next player object as well in order to accommodate this. Although I feel like this should be good enough. But maybe that's doing too much at once. Because remember, when I was speaking about this before, I was like, whenever there's a next player, there should always be a next turn. And I feel like that's true. And so I could have gotten rid of it then and tested it at that point, but now I don't want to do two things at once. So, though I'm pretty sure, but we'll do this at the end. So for now, we will get a next player. We'll get a next turn, and we don't want a next turn countdown. Okay, so this becomes our thing. And okay, so it's having an issue saying type undefined. Can I? No, I can't. Yeah, so what I needed to have done is this. And so what I'll do is, because I keep forgetting, I'll look for another instance where I've done this. Here, load it up here. Yeah, and so the whole thing is taken care of by that. So we'll do define props, and then we'll start this. Good, that's what I want. And I can come back here. I thought that this would have worked. It doesn't, because I think it needs to accept undefined as well. So I'm hoping that, so that did get rid of one of those errors. I won't fixate too much on this because we might not be passing in next player. So it's a typing issue, won't fixate on it. Let's get back to here. And then so next turn countdown is going to be 0 plus 1. So it's always going to say 1. So I don't want to start at 2. And then we will have a next player in the next turn. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Right? This should be a non-functional display of something as the game gets started. So let's go here. And it works because it happens to work because all the interval code and business is here. So good, at least it's displaying something. Next turn interval. And I want to bring this. So now I'm going to break a bunch of code. Okay, I want to bring this here. This also goes away. Okay. And then what? Let's see what else breaks here. So start next turn countdown. Yeah, all of this comes through. And we want to start it right away. And this go to next turn will be something that we emit back to the parent component. So this function should be in that parent component. So I don't want to change that. Instead, I think I want to do something like emit. Sure, next turn countdown finish, a bit verbose. I haven't done an emit in this code base yet. So let me refresh my memory of what the syntax is in Vue 3 script component. So I wanted to define emits, but yeah, so there we go. Okay, there it is. So it's going to look something like this. I'll just copy this wholesale. And yeah, so we'll be emit this. And then this, I will validation. I don't want validation. I didn't know you could do that. I haven't read these docs in a while. I want something like, what? Sorry, let me just, what? So let me just return true. And then there's an emit, right? Expected 2 arguments, but got 1. So how do we call this emit? It expected 2 arguments because the first argument should be the name of the thing. So we'll say next turn countdown finished. And now it expects 2, but got 1, but now the underline here is gone. And that's because we have defined something here. This is pretty cool. I did not know. This must be newer functionality. So now we're going to next turn countdown finish. We're going to emit that. And get rid of this. And now we're communicating. We have code in order to communicate with our. This syntax is much nicer than this syntax here, even if you're always saying true. This is much more easier to reason about visually. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so go to next turn is here. So we can get rid of that because we remove that function. And what we want to do is want to trigger go to next turn in our next turn countdown component. So here we'll say next turn, this. Okay, great. So now I actually expect this to work. And if it doesn't, there's a bug, right? Okay, a little bit of a so we have that flash because that if is no longer here, and I can't have that if here because I don't have that interval here anymore. The interval is here, and I feel like I can just add it here, like I had before. So let's see if the combination of that doesn't work out for us. Next turn interval. Okay. So let's see what that feels like. Perfect. Okay, so now all we've done here is really just refactor. We haven't, done the implementation because if I didn't refactor, then I'd have to copy paste all this code, and that would feel bad because it's too much. It's too much logic in here. I'm happy to copy paste other bits of logic here and there. Okay, now let's test this bit. Whoops, because next turn ought to be enough. Also get rid of it from here. And then get rid of that. I'm getting rid of too many things at once here, but okay, fine. But at least it's easier to undo. Yeah, perfect. Mary, I'm not sure if you can answer this question, which is find the next number in the pattern. This question needs fixing. This.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer this one. Not sure.
Okay, let's pause to give you some more time. Reduce the pressure, and then reveal.
Wow.
All right. So obviously some other bugs that we need to fix, but let's actually quickly see. I mean, because this is bothering me. Because this happened last time as well, and I was like, okay, whatever. So, but let's actually.
Yeah, would not want that question in front of people you might want to impress.
Yeah. It's hard to know which one it is, because I also got rid of that like debugging. But I should be able to get that back. Question ID is answering. Does it remember? Do you remember AI? No, you don't. No, turn dot question type. So it's this one. It would have taken some time to figure out if I did not do that. And here, it seems like the exclude 0, I refactored that code. So it seems like the exclude is not working. That's fine. I'll just, for now, add a to-do here, make sure exclude works. So a little bit of work for me to do. And we'll get rid of that. We'll come back here and commit this refactoring. I'll commit that as well. That stays. Here, all we did was pull out all that code that was running that timer, and we can remove this now. Fairly confident that this can go. So now we have a much cleaner interface. And then we'll take a look here. Okay. Add that in, and then that's fine. And we need to add this new component. So refactoring out, next turn countdown. I'll just leave it like this. I'm too lazy to remove those dashes. Okay, so now we need to add it to the first page. So with that first step, when we click start round, we want to generate the round information, and then we want to display the countdown. Okay. So first step is here, and start round happens here. And this is correct. So we want to generate all that because we need it. Next turn will be the first turn. So, okay, yeah, so we'll use the same naming convention, right? So this can be trigger start round. Okay. And now this will trigger the start round, but we don't want to go to the next round. So we'll say function go to next round here. Or no, I'll say go to start round, even though it doesn't quite make sense entirely, but that's fine. And that turn number is going to be 1. That's fine. We'll need to figure out a way to bring that in because that absolutely needs to be there. So we'll say first turn dot value dot number, and we'll define first turn here. I don't know that I want to do that. I can be a lot more explicit here. So I can say null to, okay, fine. I'll say this, and then turns is, okay, that's fine. For now, I'm going to say any. Okay, so you'll excuse me. I'm going to say any or null, although even this doesn't make sense. But I don't want to worry about the typing just this moment. I'm going to say here first turn dot value. I don't know if this needs to be reactive, but we did it. And this can go away because all we're setting is that first turn. And now this knows what to do. And when there is a first turn value, because there's no first turn until this happens. When there's a first turn, we want to now, instead of displaying this, we want to display next countdown, v if first turn. And then we want to pass in first turn as the next turn, and then go to start round as our emitted value. Okay, and then here we can say v else. So logically, this feels like it's enough. I might have missed something. So we're here. I click start round to trigger, get the data, and flip. Cool. There's a little bit of a greater flash, which I don't like, but I'm not going to fix for now because the whole page is changing. And so there's a lot of components on the page. I don't like that'll take too much time to adjust. So I'm actually okay with that. We'll find different ways of smoothing certain transitions. Okay, so let's test that one more time. So there will be that little, Yeah, that's fine. I think it's fine. A number, this is popping in, so it's taking up more space. So a bunch of elements are changing. Let me take one more look at that.
Do you have to go soon?
Oh, you have to do friendship.
Yeah.
God, we didn't.
We didn't finish it.
We failed you. Hold on. What do we do? Countdown to next turn. No landing page. No this.
I am working on that.
No sound.
That
right?
is also almost done.
Okay. So maybe I can stay an extra 15 minutes to see the non-goofy bits. How does that sound?
Yeah, let me just link the landing page stuff here.
I feel like, so Mary was muted this time, but furiously working.
This time I will admit.
Yeah, see, like it was always furious, trust me.
The standard sounds, definitely give them a listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll add some notes under the favicon title stuff. Notes.
Video format cannot be played, it says.
I think it's too short for some reason for Notion. Like the other ones seem to play fine.
Okay, interesting. It says it's a different format, so I can. Yeah, it is actually a different format altogether. And my browser won't even play it, unfortunately. We might have to find a different file, or we'll figure out something. But it was here, so we can probably go there and take a look. Anything else?
I guess take a look at the landing page, because.
Okay.
Yeah, if you scroll to the left.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. What does it say here? Wait list.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay.
This is why I'm like, we need tracking so we can know how many people click it.
Okay, yeah, I think tracking can definitely be something that.
But scope creep.
No, I think at the end we can, like I think we'll do a deployment session.
Yeah.
At some point, and as part of that, we'll add some tracking. The thing about tracking to me is like, if we're not going to put in some of the effort into marketing, then the tracking is kind of just like superfluous. So we'll see. We'll see how those things net out.
Well,
But
I
okay.
think it's a good learning experience as
Mhm.
well. Like,
Yeah,
what are the things that are like worth tracking, and how do they inform decisions?
Yeah.
But I think that's it from me for now.
Okay. All right. Well.
Right. I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay. I will continue for maybe, let's say 20 minutes. We'll give that maybe half an hour, and we'll see whether we can deliver to Mary's standards of completion, her high standards of completion. Let's see. All right. Cool. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye. Okay. So where were we? We were here. I actually don't remember where it was. So we got the countdown completed, and I was just about to commit, I think, on that first page. So not here, but here. And we've essentially just used, I can get rid of this. That's not necessary. Essentially, we've just used the refactored code that we pulled out. Okay, cool. So adding next turn countdown to the first turn. Okay. All right, what do we do next? So let's take a look here on this list. So we did do this. No, we didn't do that. We did. I think I already marked it, didn't I? Where did it go? Okay, countdown to next turn. Fine. Maybe this might get done later. I want to do the string-based ID first. I don't know why I said do it later and move this to the top. Landing page, let's see if I can tackle that. Analytics tracking will go down here. That's fine. Oh, there's some notes here, but no icon. Okay, so we'll see if we can't get this in there. Okay, so this Mary is absolutely furiously working in the background all the time, from the start to the end. Let's quickly take a look at this page to see what it has. So this is a little bit broad. I'm not sure that I'll be able to find quickly the tick. Maybe let's just search for tick very quickly, see what we get. Timer, maybe. And if not, maybe we can find another sound in another universe to play. Okay, so we'll get back to this in a second. I feel like there should be a ding once the timer runs out. So, okay, first let's do these and this, and then let's try and see if we have enough time to address the sound last. So, string-based game ID. So what I want here is, instead of using the game ID in the URL, because I don't want people to just go 05, because we'll keep it open to start. You won't have to sign up and all that, because it's just a lot of work for, I think, very little actual gain for us. So let's see if we can't implement that. Okay, so effectively any place that we lead up to do this. So it starts here, right? It starts with submit and this create game. So let's find create game in the UI here. This triggers this create game function. And it gets the ID here. So instead of this ID, I want to get the display ID. And get display ID here. And I think bit by bit, we can, as we go, change it. which should break. So I expect this to break now. So I create, I am getting the ID that I want to see. I did not expect to see this. I expected it to break. Let's do that again. Let's see what happened. That makes no sense to me. So let me get this here. Let's get the network tab going. Let's clear out anything. And let's create game. So I expect to see create game here. Returning the display ID, which was just, okay, yeah. So now it's broken. I'm trying to think about why it worked before, but maybe because Nux hot module reloading state was weird at that time. I'm gonna spend time here. I have my broken case, and now I can continue to fix it. Okay, great. So now we have to go to that round ID page and get the game from its display ID. So up here, this ID now, I won't change it to like display ID. I'll just keep it ID. And then this get game, this here should be display ID. Okay. And now this breaks, and we can go here and change this to display ID, change this to display ID, and change this to find. So there'll be a find game by ID we might use, and I'll just add a find game by display ID as well. Okay. And so let's go ahead and find game by ID is a number. I'll just copy paste this wholesale and do display ID, and it's a string. I'll call it display ID here as well, just for consistency. In some places, you don't, And then I think I can just do this and have it pull that out, and the rest of it is pretty much the same, except this will now be game ID. So I think I'm happy with this. A little bit of duplication, but that's fine. Okay. So see, like, I mean, this code is pretty much the same, but I'm like, not now. This is not the time. So now I can go ahead and import this. And yeah, this needs to be string. And now we have something a little bit consistent here. When we go back, we're going to have some typing to adjust, because this now is simply ID as string. I don't think I can say, because this is string or string array, so I do still have to do this as string business here. So now this should get me that game by display ID. And now that I have data game, I don't want to change this, right? So this can stay the same. And I can say here, data game dot value, is that correct? So data game is a ref, data game dot value dot ID. It doesn't like it because ID can potentially be null. So I'm just going to save this for now. No, doesn't like it. It's like, no, you're gonna. So here's what we'll do. We'll save this. That makes sense. Sorry. We could also add some additional sort of like this kind of business. I haven't done any like massive error checking here. I wonder whether this would be satisfied, and it is, because it's looking. So I'm happy to do that for now. And it's fine. Let's see what happens when we refresh. So this has worked fine. Or some things worked fine. I don't know what yet. Some things work fine. This part is missing entirely. And why is that? I'm trying to see whether I think because that's in its own page and it's getting that information on its own also. Because this is the round ID page, game round ID. And then I have this index inside it. I think that's also doing its own work. So here, this becomes display ID as string. And I think that's it. And we got that bit working. So now when we start the round, because we're using ID here, that's coming straight from here. So a little bit of confusion in terms of naming, but I think I'm okay with it. Start round should work. Doesn't work. It doesn't work because this needs to be game dot value.id. I can get rid of that, and we'll do some lame error checking like we did before. Okay. Although it still doesn't like it because it's in this function, right? So it's not in the main thing. So we'll still do this. We'll still do that. And additionally, we'll do this, or no, we'll just throw another one in here. Okay. And now when we come back here, we expect this to begin. We've sent that information in, we've come back, and now we fail on the turn. So let's go to the turn. It's question ID. I mean, ultimately, I should change question ID to turn ID at some point. But let's readjust based on what we are now. So this game ID, again, no, not this one. No, this one. Get turns. So I have to do this in a different order now because we have to use this here, and then we have to use this here, and here we can have that if block. And my sense is this should be enough. And it has loaded. If I pause, play, all that stuff works, reveal answer works, correct, does not work. So what's happening there? Are there any errors on the page? Yeah, there are. Because I'm still getting the game here in this way, so I can now change this back to display ID. And was that it? I don't know. It was not. So there's some other error that's happening here. So let's see if we can't find it. This needs to be fixed. So we'll add that if block here, and then we can use the load games ID here. Okay. I don't think this will necessarily fix it. I don't think, but I'm just going to try anyway, because this is a different thing that's happening. So let's actually go to the source and try and fix it here. So set answer state. Got it. Okay. And here, this can't be this. It needs to be. It needs to be. It could be data. I have a bunch. It's just. It's not great. It's not great. So I think it could just be data game here. And it doesn't like it. So I'm just going to say, look, it exists. Just give me a break. Fine, I won't do it. I'll do the verbose thing. Okay. Back here now, we expect correct to work in 3 seconds. And it does. Verify 20 seconds here. Fantastic. let me do a test with like 2 players so I can get to the finish part of the game and see if that still works. Okay, submit, create, just 2 players. And I guess one will get it wrong and the other person will get it right. So reveal answer correct. Turn, wait a few seconds. Next turn, get it incorrect. And now it's time to end the game. And this doesn't work because we still need to use the ID here. So let's go to the leaderboard. And let's get this fixed. Let's do this. And then let's get this fixed. Is there anything else on this page right off the bat? So it seems like we're not using this, but okay, fine. But at least all these things are now visible and functional. So I'm happy with this flow. And I'm kind of glad, I'm going to get rid of this, but also kind of glad that I didn't do that early on because it would have, taken a bunch of time away. So lots of changes here now. Display ID stuff really for round, display ID stuff for question. There might be other places where this might be broken. So let me just search for game ID here and just make sure that data game is the value in all the places where game ID exists. So game ID data game ID loaded game, which is also fine. That's fine. Game ID data game, good. And then here, it's not good. So we could do game value here. Because the overall game will be set at this point. I'm just trying to think why the app moved on with the game. Okay, because I think setting the time and set time sets the time, and then correct incorrect is there's actually 2 different things. So that instinctive checking for game ID on this screen was a good one. I'm going to bring that over here as well, just in case, to see if there's any other instances of game ID I need to be aware of. No. And then here, okay, so we have that additional bit. And we search for all the game IDs. So now we are legitimately covering all our game ID cases. And here I'll do the same thing. Like it's such little. Okay, so, okay, that looks fine to me. Here, I'll do the same thing. Although I feel like that was really the file that was really big. So a lot of things would emerge from there, but I think now we're settled. And here, I'm going to change this back to 10 because we're no longer in a state where we need to check every single thing. Now we're getting display ID from the game. This is where we started. And here we're getting find game by display ID. And we only needed it once because everything else is based on the actual ID of the game. So we're not, messing things up. Okay, so do you want to get that diff, change to string, and that's it. So that's not too bad. Using display ID in-game URL. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's hit the landing page. Let's hit the favicons. Maybe okay, let's see. Why not? Why not? So we have this for the landing page. For now, obviously, I'll just keep this as a disabled button, and we'll take it from there. Okay. I'm switching back and forth just to get my mind in the right space. So now we'll go to the main page here. We'll look for this high there. Oops. And we'll begin to adjust the elements on this page. Let's get rid of that. This is where we want to be. I wonder if this is a particular element. This is the card element. And then, so we'll just reuse some of the U card elements here. I'll just create one. I'll just create the math one to begin, and then we'll just copy paste and that'll be it. So U card. Just from anywhere is fine, really. I'm just trying to quickly see. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think that's fine. So this hi there, Mary was incorrect. By the way, I should be searching for greeting. I'm in the back end here. Okay, so here's where I should be. And let's begin. So I can now get rid of this. We did this for testing purposes way back when we were implementing KTEX. We don't need this TRPC call either. It was just there for example purposes. And then can get rid of that. Can get rid of this. Can get rid of all of this. This is all for test purposes to see if things were working. And then we'll add a U card here with just a hello, just a starting point, right? Or maybe we can actually do Honeypot Math here. We'll begin here and we'll slowly build the page out. Okay, fantastic. This is what I expected. We will look for logo somewhere because I know that. Okay, great. So I have a Honeypot logo. So we'll pull that in here. That's this logo, which interestingly is not over here. So wrong logo, but that's fine. What I actually want is this. And I'm happy to duplicate that. Maybe later at some point we can refactor that. Fantastic. And this should become Honeypot. Not Honeypot Math. But let me first adjust the elements. So let's center this. Let's add a button that says launch. Yeah, I think this will adjust for the centering. Right? And then I can go ahead and add a button here. What if I add a comment? Launch game button. Let's be explicit. Let's give it enough hints for it to do something. So something's here. We'll see. Right. So it should be this and this. And then it should just say launch. And then we don't need this. And the rest of that seems fine. So if I click here, it will launch this. Fantastic. And later on, instead of this being /game, this should probably be like /math, right? Won't change that now because there's too much directory stuff to change. Okay, fantastic. And now I feel like I can just copy paste this. Let's get 2 in there, see what that looks like. And then let's flex this up. We're going to do flex row still. And now these will be W-fulls. Good. And instead of this, I'm going to do a gap 4, maybe. And we'll take this and replace that. Okay, great. And now in this last one, we can adjust these values. So let's pick that up. Honeypot English. Cool. Here, I'll just steal the colors here. There's no shame anymore. English, and then I think I could just do this. And that ought to display English. And then now I'll then adjust the button to say waitlist. And then copy paste my way through shamelessly. So what if I did waitlist button disabled? Let's see what it gives me. It still wants to go there. That's fine. We'll do that. We'll do that. The rocket shouldn't be there, of course. Did something go wrong? Oh, I didn't save. I did not save properly. Okay, so that is there. A variant color neutral, variant solid. Let's do outline here, and let's make this small. Okay. That looks okay to me. It doesn't look grand, to be honest. It looks fine. Maybe I'll additionally add some top margin here just to create a bit more spacing so it looks like it's kind of aligned. And then let's go ahead and add 2 more. And let's, well, I want that's fine. Doesn't matter what I want. Let's try this. And that is what I want. And let's go ahead and find. That's ambitious. Code, very ambitious. And then draw, less ambitious, I feel like. But still very, very cool. Draw, and then Y. Let's take a look. Cool. So here we go. We have draw, code, English and math. And the last thing we need to do is remove this math from here. So I guess the, let me look for font logo. I thought this would have been in some layout page, right? App view, yeah, here we go. And I need to, I can't just get rid of this, unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever you want to say. And I can't do it because I need to say math when we're on the math game. So let me take a look at what that feels like. So game index is where the game begins. And I guess the main thing I'm looking for here is whether this is a legit layout. So there's no next page here. Fine. What about everything inside here? So this is game ID. No next page here either. That is mildly unfortunate. maybe I lied. What if I did math? It doesn't want to. And then here, search for all instances of like /game, right? I mean, okay, fine, like whatever. Yo, why is this broken? Did I? No, it's back, it's back. I think it was just confused. Let me quit and re-enter. Let me redo my search. And then math, and then next, math, next, math, next, math, next, math. I mean, yes, there probably should have been a better way of doing this, but whatever, forever. I don't know why this is here. Yeah, I don't know why it's broken. And now, hopefully, when I click here, I thought I did all the /games, right? Did I not save? I did not save. Classic. Classic me. So now, when I click math, generate, submit, create, start. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but here we are. That start round button should not be there on the first turn countdown. Fix that in a second, but let me instances of these games. That's a quick game where I just have 2 players, 1 right, 1 incorrect, because I want to test it to the end. Yeah, that's start round button. I clicked on it twice, so certainly it should not be there. Reveal incorrect. End game time. And we're good. So now, I still need to do this. You know, like this is a distraction. I still need to do this. And I don't have a great indicator. I think if the route has the word math in it, I'll put math in here. Right? So that's what we'll do. I didn't know I was going to do that. I think somewhere inside my heart, I knew. Inside of my brain, whatever, that combination in my body. So let's go to app.view and say, let's add a script. Let's do this in the script section. And let's say, well, okay, look, I don't need all that. Let me say if math is in the path, then set game type to math. Okay, so let's see if it does it. So I'm going to say const route game type ref math. I don't like that. And then string or null here. And then, okay, I mean, like, this is not going to happen, but here we go. And we could probably go ahead and just do that. It's taking this from that other place. And here I can say vif game type, right? We'll bring this through. And then here I can say game type. I'm not going to do the color because, so now we have Honeypot here. And when we click through, see that, like, that I had to refresh it. So it works. But I had to refresh it. Why? I would expect this to work right off the bat, but I guess not. So watch effect. Can I do this? Does it know that these are reactive properties broadly? And if not, we'll try and fix it. It does. Fantastic. So I'm okay with it. Look, I'm okay with it. Okay, so now we've made a lot of changes here. The smallest one being this. And then we've removed all our game pages and added math pages instead. Really, digging in and being true to the essence of what we wanted here. This seems to be giving me some indentation issue, but it doesn't seem to be true. So something up with my LSP. We don't need the script here, and the rest of this looks fine to me. So we'll take a quick look. Yep. Why is this not? Okay. This is acting up. So adding landing page. I'm going to quit everything just to make sure. Okay, so now I got the landing page in there. It's been a while. Maybe we do this and we wrap up. Let's see. Let's see what I have the patience to do. Okay. Just checking my messages. Let's see. Let's see where we get. So let's do this. I think next set title, because I want it to be broadly across the entire app. So we'll begin here, app head title, right? In our next config. There's no app. So I feel fairly comfortable, maybe even up top here, doing something like this. And then closing out. No, I don't want page transitions. I want to close out. I think that would be an interesting thing where if we combined, especially for cases like this, where I'm like, oh, and we're going to close out, right? I'm saying it if there was some listener listening and then it was combined with the AI on my app. So as I'm typing, it's also listening to what I'm saying and it'll just do what I'm saying. That's got to be already out there, right? And I don't want to like trigger it. I don't want to press a button that says listen and then I just want to, I'm narrating. I'm just working, I'm narrating. And the moment I start typing, it should now know what I intend based on what I had just said. Okay. So Mary thinks we should say have this. That's just her opinion. I don't know why I said that. It is actually just her opinion. Look, we're going to implement her opinion. So now we have that title. I'm okay keeping that just so it's Honeypot. But what I do want is I want to use this Honeypot icon for my fav icon. And I'm trying to think. So we should have it here. And I should be able to copy as, or at the very least, export as. Sure, why not? PNG. And then I should be able to set the 5 icon. What is this? And that's simply in public. Fav ico. I wonder. I think this could just be a PNG, but I don't know. Let's see. I should be able to just do that because I want to. Run this. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's try and get some of this other stuff. Look at so many opinions. So, excuse me, so many opinions. Next, title. And I feel like there ought to be a description somewhere here. There you go. This little bit. And where was this? After the title. So right here. Okay. I like this. What's wrong with this? My amazing site. Instead, we have this. And then additionally, I think we have keywords. So oh, no, this would go here. Keywords, content, and paste that in. And there we go. So adding that and that. Adding title, fav, icon. Okay, so that's done. Sound. So a bit over what I wanted to do, maybe 10 minutes over. What I wanted to do, let me try sound, right? But I can't flip back and forth. So just for the purposes of the stream for now, I'll share my tab. Yep. So we can hear what's happening. So this file is an OGG file, OGG. So it won't play here. And I'm not entirely sure that it will play. But this is what the reveal question sound is. This is what the sound is. And this is what the incorrect sound is, excuse me. So very blippy, 0 seconds. I wonder, yeah, I think, I don't love them right off the bat. I feel like they're too standard. Maybe these are too goofy. And there's some childish elegance balance somewhere in the world. But since we do have correct and incorrect sounds, I'll go back to sharing my full screen. And I'll implement these, reshare my tab, and then we'll go from there. So correct and incorrect, we already have in the code. So let's download this. Oh, these are all OGG files. So I guess I was just wrong. Well, that's what that feels like. So I think we might have the opportunity. So what is this? Error. confirmation. Okay, so let me begin by copying those through. Right, so I had them in assets, I believe, sounds, CP downloads, confirmation. So I'll just come here and call it correct.og. I don't know if this will work. And you'll just have to believe me. Error. It shows here that my entire screen stopped sharing. And this is actually the second time that's happened, which is a bug with our friend's Restream. So I don't know when it stopped working. I'll call this incorrect. And then let's also get this. I'll call it reveal. Oh, this is reveal question, not reveal answer. For some reason, I assumed it was reveal answer. Okay. I'll call it question. And then this last sound here, which cannot be placed on this device. We have somebody commenting, some rando from the internet who says, Mary, who says, you're still live. Yes, Mary, you know why? Because the deadline was set, and I don't want to come on the stream tomorrow and be like, you know what, we missed that deadline, missed the really important deadline. So, I mean, I don't know when you jumped in, but these are done now, and we're seeing what we can do about the sound. And so the tick, let me download it, and then oh, he doesn't even want to download. Let me try and download this. So it did download here, and then we'll see. Tick. So they're all files. I thought they were MP3. Something's up here where it says this video format cannot be played on this device. So let's see. Let's start with correct, incorrect. And let's let's get into the game. And I'll just do one question where I personally hear the sound. I'm gonna actually make this change, the start round change, because I keep clicking it like a loser. So if first turn is set, which means we've sent the information and we've gotten it back, we no longer need to do that. So, which means that this is starting if and not first turn. Right. And let me just test that out with a new game. Create game, start round. Now that's gone, so I have to wait. Cool. Okay, great. Now I can go ahead and that's when the sound emerges, which is the trumpet sound. I think it's use sound that we had done. So let's replace this with correct and incorrect and all that. So we can go import correct sound equals, and then this can just be correct.og. Let's see if this works. And then here, so this is play trumpet. So this should have been play correct. So let's change that here and then stop correct. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Incorrect. And then let's also change that to incorrect. Okay, so now we have this, and now I can come here and say correct sound. And that's what ought to happen now. Only I will know. But now we have to wait these extra 2 seconds every time we're testing. We don't have to, but we will. Yeah. It's here, it's quick, but I don't know if it's great just yet. I'll go ahead and implement the rest. Incorrect sound. Get rid of this now. And then let's get this. And let's test out the incorrect business. Yeah, it should be a little bit more. It should be more, but less than the intense goofiness. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do about that. But let me see if I can't implement the ticking sound. Okay. So we have tick, and so I can say import tick sound from tick.og. Okay, we got the tick sound in there. And we shall, there's some other options here, I know. So if I go here, I would have assumed, so these are refs, which means that they can change during play or during something. I don't know, during whatever. Okay. So this sound is howl, also a ref. This is a function. Stop is a function. Pause is a function. Because I want to change the volume mid tick. Duration. I'm trying to, okay, that's fine. Let's see. Let's try to think. But maybe I should not be thinking in this stage. And we have a play, right? And here, obviously it'd be too much if we played the sound here, because it's like, you know, at a millisecond level. But we can maybe try and tell it to play tick every second. And let's see if it can't figure out what it needs to do. That seems almost correct. I can hear it already now, which is weird because it shouldn't be on this page. I can hear it now as well. And I feel like I shouldn't. Not that I feel like I shouldn't, it's just, hold on. Let's reduce the sound. It is happening on the second. I don't mind it. But I think Yeah. Okay. So clear interval. I feel like I now need to have a function here saying something like function stop interval, right? Which will do this broadly. And then also stop tick. Okay. And then anytime I have clear interval, we can say stop. I'm really trying to guide. Okay, sorry, this is me not stop interval. Okay, so that's fine. I can just call it straight up without any concern for that if block. And I can do the same thing here. And I can now get rid of this. And I can do this. And in all these situations, it should now stop the sound. And we're getting lucky because the sound is 1 second or less. So that we keep calling play. Which do we have to keep calling stop as well? No, we don't. Because that now it is stopped. So now, sorry, let me adjust my screen so that we can listen. Okay, ready? On your mark, get set. I can't hear it now. What happened? Hold on. I heard a tick when I tried to refresh the page. It's just, it was more uniform before. So let me see what happens if we do this. So maybe I have to change it. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Let's just hear it again. That was the correct piece. And now those are the ticks, right? I do think we need a chime at the end to say time's up, which I don't believe we have. And then this is incorrect. And it doesn't match the visuals, right? So there's some in between childish elegance that we still need to find. But I'm okay with what we have thus far. I'm not going to add the question sound just yet because I feel like we need to revisit the sound. So we have the tick, we have correct, incorrect. I'm going to hold off on reveal question because the tick is fairly prevalent. Sorry, I was changing my tabs without realizing that I'm sharing just one tab. But let's listen to that tick again. Yeah, I don't hate it. But let's see. Let's see if we can, Mary was kind of under, in a situation where she had to like watch the stream, search for sounds, do design. And so I feel like this could, we could spice it up just a little bit. Let's see. But okay, otherwise, let me stop sharing. Let me reshare my full screen and commit what we have now. And, it's not quite complete, but it's closer than we have ever been. and I'll do a quick review. Okay, so just changing some function names and what have you to make sense. Getting rid of that start round button that would just stay there. Okay, adding standard sounds. Okay. All right, so this is what it would look like now. This is a whole game. Here we are, Honeypot, Honeypot Math, English, Code, Ambitious, Draw. Okay, and launch. Here we go. Now it says Math. And note that the URL also says Math now, instead of what it was saying before, which is game. When we start round, this disappears. We have a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and away we go. So we still have, we're not done. I have to fix that exclude button. So, we failed. We failed Mary's aggressive ambitious timeline deadline, to be honest. So we'll come back tomorrow in shame, and maybe try and wrap up some of the sound business, try and wrap up that exclude issue that's happening, and we'll take it from there. And I will see you, tomorrow. Thanks for joining me in this session of Product Like. It's Friday, even though it's Thursday, and we'll see you on an actual Friday. Let's go home.